What's up, guys? It's Gio, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire news. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the three new Mega Evolutions that have dropped, being Mega Sharpedo, Mega Gallade, and Mega Camerupt. And then we're also going to talk about the new exclusive abilities of Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon. So, anyway, just to preface these leaks a little bit, I know I am, time dating this video by doing this, but, on Wednesday, September 10th, which is today, hopefully the video will be up today, I was about to get out of the car and walk into school, and all of a sudden, I checked Twitter, and it was like, hey, yo guys, new Mega Pokemon are announced. So, I was really excited. I've been thinking about this all day and about what I want to say, so I think we will start with Mega Camerupt, because it is the least favorite of the three for me, but I am still willing to give Mega Camerupt a chance. So if you look at the design on Mega Camerupt, it's kind of weird. It looks like if some camel was like, hey yo, Mr. Volcano, you mind chilling on my back for a little bit to keep me warm? And then he just kind of got super fluffy and grew legs in Camerupt, eruption, yes. So anyway, Mega Camerupt is going to be getting the ability Sheer Force, which is actually pretty good because it does have some notable moves to abuse that with, being Fire Blast and Earth Power. However, I'm not quite sure if Mega Camerupt will be used that often, because if it's still water and if it's still fire and ground type, then it's gonna get beat by any Pokemon carrying Water Gun. And I'm not quite sure if that is what you want from your Mega slot, to be that weak to something. I understand using something like Charizard, because it hits so incredibly hard and it hits so incredibly fast that you can abuse that fact. But it's kind of difficult to do that when you're really slow. It even says in the leaks that they will be decreasing Mega Camerupt speed. So overall, I see Mega Camerupt as a niche trick room, or niche, however you want to pronounce it. I see it as a niche, probably UU or RU Trick Room Pokemon, a lot like Mega Abomasnow. They're very, very similar in concept in that they both have pretty big weaknesses, both being 4 times weaknesses. They're pretty common types. They're both really slow, but they hit pretty hard, so I would expect to see that out of Mega Camerupt. Okay, next we're going to move on to Mega Sharpedo, because it is my second favorite by far that was leaked today. Second favorite out of 3, of course. And, Mega Sharpedo looks like it's about to destroy all metagames. What even is a metagame? Because, just look at the design on this thing. This dude is, super tattoos all over my body with, a giant nose that is about to spin and destroy all of your team. Before Mega Evolving, of course, it does have Speed Boost, which is great because it can just, come in, scoop up a free knockout versus something that's slower, and then get a lot faster upon actually clicking the button to Mega Evolve, because it'll already have a speed boost. We do know that Mega Sharpedo is going to get boosts in every stat that it has but HP, and it is going to get Strong Jaw as an ability, which is actually really cool. It doesn't have a whole lot of moves to abuse that. The first of which is Crunch, which I guess just hits stuff like Gengar and hits stuff like Aegislash, if Aegislash is ever allowed back in OU. But honestly, Strongjaw isn't a great ability. It's something. It would have rather had Tough Claws, like another certain Mega Evolution leak today, but we'll get to that in a second. It would have rather had Tough Claws, to be honest, but Strongjaw makes a lot of sense since Sharpedo is literally all head. It does not have a butt. I'm very disappointed in you, GameFreak, by the way, for not giving Mega Sharpedo a butt. That's all I wanted. Just give it a tail, at least something. But, it also has Ice Fang, which, I guess hits your Dragonites and whatnot. Although I would probably rather go mixed with Sharpedo. Actually, maybe not go mixed. We'll see what its stats end up looking like. But overall, Mega Sharpedo is super cool, and I am looking forward to using it. I think it'll end up in UU for a couple of reasons. I do know that it hits insanely hard, and I do know that it will probably be very fast. But with things running around in OU that are already super fast and have priority, looking at you, Breloom, looking at you, Talonflame, wow, that was a great voice crack, looking at you, Bisharp, all these things have priority that really messes with Sharpedo, because while Sharpedo will be getting an increase in its defense, like Sharpedo is already not the bulkiest Pokemon. I'm actually looking it up right now, super professional, but it's really not the bulkiest Pokemon. Like a strong wind could knock Sharpedo out. It has a base HP of 70, which isn't bad, but it's nothing to write home about. You also have a base 40 defense and a base 40 special defense. Even if they give those like 30-point buffs, they are below average defenses, and it's not just going to be able to hold up very well with the bulk of priority that is running around in OU at the moment. So overall, I predict that thing to go UU, but you know, if it goes higher, then I will gladly accept to eat my words, because I do want this thing to succeed. And finally, I'm going to cover the Mega that everyone has been talking about. Everybody is super scared of Mega Gallade, who apparently has Tough Claws, which is really cool. And Wally is just chilling here like, oh dude, I don't even know what happened. This thing just kind of puffed out of the smoke, and it looks like it hits really hard, so I'm going to use it. But overall, Mega Gallade, if it does retain its Psychic Fighting type, is going to be pretty good. Psychic Fighting isn't amazing coverage, but it's okay when you pair it with stuff like Shadow Sneak and Swords Dance, but Mega Gallade looks like a monster for a couple of reasons. The first of which being that, like, it already has an insanely high attack stat, and when you couple that with the likely speed and defense and special defense increases it's going to be getting, you're talking about a monster. Gallade right now has a base 125 attack stat, base 115 special defense. That is monstrous. Even if it gets only like a 20-point increase, when you have a 20-point increase in stab moves and Zen Headbutt, Close Combat, and then you have a coverage move and Shadow Sneak for priority, you're talking about something that hits really hard with Tough Claws and is going to obliterate things after a Swords Dance. Gallade overall looks like a really big detriment to stall in whatever tier it ends up being. I think it's going to be OU, just because it does have the ability to break a lot of very common walls, even if stuff like Aegislash is allowed back in the tier. Like, Aegislash is not going to want to come in on a Gallade, because it can be knocked off, it can be hit with a Shadow Sneak, it's going to hurt no matter what Gallade does. And, so what we know about Gallade so far, of course, it does get Tough Claws. Yeah, Tough Claws, right? Yeah, Tough Claws. I thought it was like Rough Claws for a second, and I was a little bit confused, but apparently not. So, but it will more than likely get speed, defense, special defense, and attack increases. It really needs a speed boost of at least 25 in order to be very, very good, but I do think it can do that. It will still remain relevant even if it only has base 100, because hitting base 100 isn't that bad. And like, people can make up for Gallade's flying type weakness. Like, look at Mega Heracross, and you can see why, like, even being weak to flying isn't necessarily a bad thing when you're an OU, because there's a lot of stuff that can deal with flying types. But anyway, that is the last of the Mega Evolutions we're going to be covering, unless you count like Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre as Mega Evolutions. But anyway, looking at the two signature abilities of the two behemoths that go by the names of Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre, they have two brand new abilities. The first of said ability being Reign of Beginnings, I think it's called. Reign of Beginnings? Am I saying that right? Sea of Beginnings. That's what I meant to say. So Sea of Beginnings is the special ability for a Primal Kyogre, and Primal Kyogre has the potential to be an absolute monster. Because what most people are speculating Sea of Beginnings does is it brings back Perma Weather. How bad some Pokemon and Ubers want Perma Weather right now is insane. Like, imagine stuff now that, like, gets Perma-Rain. Stuff like Shell Smash Almastar, which actually does pretty well in Ubers. But now that Rain is infinite and it always can Swift Swim, it can set up at any time, it becomes a million times more dangerous. You also get stuff like Standard Kyogre that gets a big buff from, like, other teams bringing Primal Kyogre, because now Infinite Rain again, meaning Water Spout hits hard all the time. You don't have to worry about any garbage like that. Also, Xerneas gets a huge buff because Thunder is now 100% accurate, meaning that it just obliterates all of its checks. And Ubers will be a tier of Weather Wars once again because we also have Primal Groudon, which has the ability called Land of Endings, which just sounds so powerful, by the way. Like, that sounds so cool. I hope I didn't unplug. Yeah, I didn't unplug my mic right there. Good. I, like, hit the cord with my knee, and I thought I unplugged, and I was going to be pretty mad because I would have sounded like I was talking inside of a box for a couple seconds, but regardless, I am talking inside of a box if you think about it as, like, a house being a box and whatever. Primal Groudon is actually going to be very, very cool because there's also a lot of Pokemon and Ubers that do appreciate Perma-Sun. Looking at you, Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh now has the ability to run sub and still hit like an absolute truck because most people run like hit and run Choice Band and Ho-Oh. But when you give Sacred Fire as Choice Band in the Sun, because like the Sun is essentially a free Choice Band for Ho-Oh's Sacred Fire, then you're talking about a monstrous attack right there with a 50% chance to burn and absolutely destroys things pretty much all the time. So in addition to that, there's a lot of other things that get buffs that I'm just not thinking of right now. Specifically stuff that likes HP Fire. Yeah, that's about it. You have Shiftry, who could potentially be a pretty good defog Pokemon in Ubers, actually, because of its ability to kind of abuse chlorophyll. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. So if you guys did enjoy this episode of Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire news, please make sure to leave a like, as it really does help show support for the stuff that I'm doing here on the channel. Also, make sure to answer today's comment question of the video, which is which out of these new 3 Megas are you guys most excited for? Personally, I'm hyped for Mega Gallade. Mega Gallade hype train. Wow, that was really bad. I promise to never do that again. And with that, I urge you guys to subscribe if you guys are enjoying the constant content. And with that, I'll catch you on the flip-flop.